Hi, good evening. We are resuming our reading of the book Swami and Friends by R.K. Narayan. And we are on chapter 15, Before the Match. We have finished most of the chapter, but then it was a bit too long for fear of getting you bored. I stopped short. So today I'll go back a little and start reading. Now we are at a situation where Swaminathan has not been to his drill class for a week because he has been under the impression that his doctor has talked to his drill master and that the drill master has exempted him from attending the drill class. So he has been going away after class bell straight to the ground to practice his bowling. Now he is going back to the school uh, to collect some his friends or something. So Somnathan comes to the old school from where he has been thrown out and which he has promised he'll never enter again, but he comes back to that school. It was during the geography hour on Friday that the headmaster came to the class, cane in hand. The geography master, Mr. Ramarao, a mild elderly person, rose respectfully. The headmaster gave the full benefit of his wizened face to the class. His owl-like eyes were fixed upon Swaminathan and he said, "Get up." Swaminathan got up. "Come here." Swaminathan came there properly. "Show your shameless face to the class, fully." Swaminathan now tried to hide his face. The headmaster threw out his arm and twisted Swaminathan's neck to make him face the class and said, "This great man is too busy to bother about such trivial matters as drill and scouting, and has not honored these classes with his presence since last Monday." So he has not honored these classes since last Monday. His lips twisted in a wry smile. The class considered it safer to take the cue and gently giggled. Even on the geography master's face, there appeared a polite smile. "Sir, have you any explanation to give?" the headmaster asked. With difficulty, Swaminathan found his voice and answered, "It was the doctor. Didn't the doctor talk to you about me?" "What doctor? Talk about what?" "He said he would," faintly answered Swaminathan. "If you talk in enigmas, I shall strip you before the class and thrash you." Dr. Keshavan said, "What about Dr. Keshavan?" "He said he would talk to you about me and get me exemption from drill and other extra periods. He said that I should die if I attended drill for some days to come." "And pray, what is your trouble?" "He thinks it is some kind of delirium, some kind of delirium." He had determined to avoid this word since he met the doctor last, but at this critical moment he blundered into it by sheer habit. The headmaster turned to the teacher and raised his brow. He waited for some time and said, "I'm waiting to hear what other words of truth and wisdom are going to drop from your mouth." "Sir, I thought he had talked to you. He said he would." "I don't care to have every street mongrel come and tell me what to do in my school with my boys. It is a good thing that this Surgeon General did not come. If he had, I would have asked the peon to bash his head on the table." Swaminathan realized that the doctor had deceived him. He remembered the genial smile with which the doctor had said that he would see the headmaster. Swaminathan shuddered as he realized what a deep-dyed villain Dr. Keshavan was behind that genial smile. He would teach that villain a lesson, put a snake into his table drawer. He would not allow that villain to feel his pulse, even if he should be dying of fever. Further plans of revenge were dropped by a flick of the cane on his knuckles. The headmaster held the cane ready and cried, "Hold out your hand. 6 on each hand for each day of absence, and the whole of the next lesson on the bench. Monitor, you had better see to it. And remember, W.S. Swaminathan, if you miss a single class again, I shall strip you in the school hall and ask the peon to cane you. You can't frighten me with your superintendents of police, their sons, grandsons, or grandfathers. I don't care even if you complain to His Majesty." He released Swaminathan's neck and raised the cane. Another moment, and that vicious, snake-like cane, quivering as if with life, would have descended on Swaminathan's palm. A flood of emotion swept him off his feet, a mixture of fear, resentment, and rage. He hardly knew what he was doing. His arm shot out, plucked the cane from the headmaster's hand, and flung it out of the window. Then he dashed to his desk, snatched his books, and ran out of the room. He crossed the hall and the veranda in a run, climbed the school gate because the bolt was too heavy for him, and jumped into the end of Market Street. He sat under a tree on the roadside to collect his thoughts. He had left the school to which he would never go back as long as that tyrant was there. If his father should hear of it, he would do heaven knew what. He would force him to go back, which would be impossible. He had got out of 2 schools in this fashion. There were no more schools in Malgudi. His father would have to send him to Trichinopoli or to Madras. But probably the board high school headmaster would write to all these schools, telling them who Swaminathan was. He would not be admitted to any school, so he would have to work and earn. He might get some rupees, and he could go to hotels and buy coffee and tiffin as often as he pleased. What divine sweets the Bombay Anand Bhavan made! There was some green slab on the top left of the stall, and with almonds stuck to it. He had always wanted to eat it, but lacked the courage to ask the hotel man, as he believed it would be very costly. His father would not allow him to remain in the house if he did not go to school. He might beat him. He would not go home that day nor on any other day. He could not face his father. He wondered at the same time where he could go. Anywhere. If he kept walking along Market Road, where would it lead him? Probably to Madras. Could he reach Bombay and England if he went further? He could work in any of those places, earn money, and do what he pleased. If he should go by train, but what to do for the money? There might not be much trouble about that. The station master was an amiable man, and Swaminathan knew him. The school bell rang, and Swaminathan rose to hurry away. The boys might come out, stand around, and watch him as if he were something funny. He hurried along Market Road, turning to his right along Smith Street, and taking a shortcut through some intricate lanes, stood before his old school, the Albert Mission. So he has jumped the gate of his current school and Then now he is back at his old school, Albert Mission. The sight of the deep yellow building with its top story filled him with nostalgia for old times. Nostalgia is where you think of the olden times, what good memories you have, and you feel a bit sad, a bit happy. That is nostalgia. And filled him with nostalgia for olden times. He wished he had not left it. How majestic everything there now seemed. The headmaster, so dignified in his lace turban, so unlike the grubby wretch of the board, Vedanayagam, Ebenezer, even Ebenezer, D.P. Pillai, how cozy and homely his history classes were. Swaminathan almost wept at the memory of Somu and P. All his friends were there, Rajam, Somu, Mani, and the P. Happy, dignified, and honored within the walls of the august Albert Mission School. He alone was out of it, isolated, as if he were a leper. He was an outcast. An outcast. He was filled with a sudden self disgust. Oh, what would he not give to be back in the old school? Only they would not take him in. It was no use. He had no more schools to go in Malgudi. He must run away to Madras and work. But he had better see Rajam and Mani before going away. He lingered outside the school gate. He had not the courage to enter it. He was the enemy of the school. The peon Singaram might assault him and drive him out of the school if he saw him. He discreetly edged close to the massive concrete gatepost, which screened him from a direct view of the school. He had to meet Rajam and Mani. But how? He stood still for a few minutes and formed a plan. He went round the school, behind the school. It was a part of the building that nobody frequented. It was a portion of the fallow field adjoining the school and terminating in the distant railway embankment. Swaminathan had not seen this place even once in all the 6 or 7 years that he had spent at the school. Here the school compound wall was half covered with moss, and the rear view of the school was rather interesting. From here, Swaminathan could see only the top half of the building, but even that presented a curious appearance. For instance, he could not at once point out where his old second A was situated. He rolled up a stone to the foot of the wall and stood upon it. He could just see the school compound now. It was about 12, the busiest hour in the school, and there was not a single person in the compound. He waited. It was tedious waiting. After a short time, a very small person came out of the first standard to blow his nose. The 3 sections of the first standard were in a block, not a dozen yards from where he stood. Swaminathan whistled softly, and the very small person did not hear. Swaminathan repeated the whistling, and the very small person turned and started as if he saw an apparition. Swaminathan beckoned to him. The small person took just a second to decide whether to obey the call of that apparition or to run back to the class. Swaminathan called him again, and the very small person drew towards him as if in a hypnotic state, staring wildly. Swaminathan said, "Would you like to have an almond peppermint?" The very small man could hardly believe his ears. Here was a man actually offering almond peppermints. It could not be true. There was probably some fraud in it. Swaminathan repeated the offer, and the small man replied rather cautiously, that he would like to have the peppermint. Well, then Swaminathan said, you can't have it just now. You will have to earn it. Just go to second form A and tell M. Rajam that somebody from his house wants him urgently and bring him over here. And then hold out your hand for the peppermint. Maybe you will be given two. The small man stood silent, assimilating every detail of the question, and then with a puckered brow asked, where is the second form A? Upstairs. Oh, the boy ejaculated with a note of despair and stood ruminating. What do you say? Swaminathan asked and added, answer me before I count 10, otherwise the offer is off. 1, 2, 3. You say it is upstairs? The boy asked. Of course I do. But I have never gone there. You will have to now. I don't know the way. Just climb the stairs. They may beat me if I am seen there. If you care for the almond peppermint, you will have to risk it. Say at once whether you will go or not. All right, wait for me. The very small man ran off. 10 minutes later, he returned, followed by Rajam. Rajam was astonished to see Swaminathan's head over the wall. What are you doing here? Jump over the wall. I want you very urgently, Rajam. I have got a class. I can't come out now. Don't be absurd. Come on. I have something very urgent to say. Rajam jumped over the wall and was by his side. Swaminathan's head disappeared from view. A pathetic small voice asked over the wall, where is my peppermint? Oh, I forgot you, little one, Swaminathan said, reappearing. Come on, catch this. He tossed a 3 paisa coin at the other. You said almond peppermint, the boy reminded. I may say 1,000 things, Swaminathan answered brusquely. But isn't a 3 paisa coin sufficient? You can buy an almond peppermint if you want. But you said 2 almond peppermints. Now be off, young man. Don't haggle with me like a brinjal seller. Katrika, don't bargain with me. Learn contentment, said Swaminathan and jumped down from the stone. Rajam, do you know what happened in the school today? I have fought with the headmaster. I am dismissed. I have no more schools or classes. You fought with the headmaster? Asked Rajam. Yes, he came to assault me about the drill attendance, and I wrenched his hand and snatched the cane. I don't believe I shall ever go back to the school. I expect there will be a lot of trouble if I do. What a boy you are, exclaimed Rajam. You are always in some trouble or the other, wherever you go. Always, always. It was hardly my fault, Rajam, Swaminathan said, and tried to vindicate himself by explaining to him Dr. Keshavan's villainy. You have no sense, Swami. You are a peculiar fellow. What else could I do to get the evenings off for practice? The YMU are no joke. You are right, Swami. I watched the fellows at practice this morning. They have morning practice. They have morning practice and they have evening practice too. They are not bad players. There is one Mohideen, a dark fellow. Oh, you will have to keep an eye on him. He bats like Bradman. You will have to watch him. There is another fellow, Shanmugam. He is a dangerous bowler. But there is one weakness in Mohideen. He is not so steady on the leg side. Swami, don't worry about anything for some time to come. And you must come in the morning too tomorrow. We have got to beat those fellows. Swaminathan had really called Rajam to bid him goodbye. But now he changed his mind. Rajam would stop him if he came to know of his adventurous plans. He was not going to tell Rajam or anybody about it, not even money. If he was stopped, he would have no place to stay in. The match was still 2 days off. He would go away without telling anyone. Somehow practice on the way. come back for a few hours on the day of the match, disappear once again, and never come back to Malgudi, a place which contained his father, a stern, stubborn father, and the tyrant of a headmaster. And no amount of argument on his part could ever make his father see eye to eye with him. If he went home, father might beat him, thrash him, or kill him, or make him return to the board high school. Father was a tough man. He would have to come back on the day of the match without anybody's knowledge. Perhaps it would not be necessary. He asked suddenly, Rajam, do you think I am so necessary to the match? Rajam regarded him suspiciously and said, don't ask such questions. He added presently, we can't do without you, Swami. We depend upon you. You are the best bowler we have. You have got to give those fellows a beating. I shall commit suicide if we lose. Oh, Swami, what a mess you have made of things. What are you going to do without a school? I shall sorry, I shall have to join a workshop or some such thing. What will your father say when he hears of it? Oh, nothing. He will say it's all right. He won't trouble me, Swaminathan said. Swami, I must go back to class. It is late. Rajam rose and sprinted towards the school, crying, come to the field early. Come very soon, now that you are free. That's the end of chapter 15. And now we'll have to start with chapter 16. Hold on.
Mom has some questions.
Yeah?
I wanted to know who is Setu or somebody who you said Setu. I don't remember.
Somu.
Somu.
Yeah, Somu is his classmate.
Oh,
One of his classmates.
okay.
So it's Swami,
Swami,
Somu, Mani,
Mani,
Rajam
Shankar, and
P,
and Rajam.
Rajam.
Rajam is the new friend who is now the best friend.
Yeah. So now we are starting on chapter 16.
No.
சின்ன சாப்டர் தான் முடிச்சு